Today I'm going to be thinking about how to warm up your speaking voice and just give you some very general pointers. I've already looked at why and what in terms of warming up, so if you haven't seen the previous videos then do go and have a look. They're here on my profile, or you'll be able to see them eventually on YouTube. So how? Well, first of all, warming up your speaking voice needs to be specific to task. Just like if you were warming up in the gym, you would warm up differently for different tasks that you might want to do. So if you're going to, for instance, give a presentation in a room that doesn't have a microphone and it's got a large audience, you may need to warm up your voice differently than if you're just going to sit speaking on Zoom. Both warm-ups are important. The warm-up needs to be dynamic and allow movement of muscles to get the blood flow working, as we've said previously, so that you can get that core muscle temperature up. Gentle movements to start with, building up to something more intense as you approach your actual speaking session. So to start with, for your body, you can do general stretches, move around while you do them, get the big body muscles working. With the breath, it's useful to get the breath and the vocal folds working together in a balanced way. And I quite like to start with some gentle and just a bit of chewing to loosen the jaw at the same time. Add some buzzing. Which might sound a bit mad if you've not come across this before, but it actually does a great job of coordinating your breath with your vocal folds and finding a balance for efficient use. There are various routines you can do with this. I can't go into all of that here, but I'm just giving you the idea. A bit of buzzing can be very useful. Pitch gliding is useful. Again, starting nice and medium. Go up and down in your voice. Don't worry about breaks and things. Just get the range working so that when you speak, you have it there to work with and you don't have breaks in your voice as you're doing it. And, you can add interest to what you're doing. The tongue is a big muscle. It needs exercise. Believe it or not, we could do with stretching it to avoid pressing down. If you just put your thumb underneath your chin, I did this in one of the previous videos, I think, you can feel the base of the tongue, the root of the tongue. And if you're pressing down with it, you'll feel it quite strongly against your thumb, especially if you speak while you do this. So it's useful to do a few exercises to get that tongue loosened up and flexible. Put the tongue between the teeth and do a bit of TH. They can do some pitch gliding at the same time, just to get the range working at the same time. There are obviously articulatory exercises that you can do. You can work with your vowels, I, and bring in the other vowels so that you can feel that resonance system working, because vowels, believe it or not, are differences in resonance rather than particular differences here, as I understand it. And you can work with your consonants. I quite like to do the unvoiced and the voiced consonants, p, t, k, as opposed to b, d, g. I had a session the other day with a client and we looked mainly at where consonants were made, and it made a massive difference to the way she was approaching her voice actually. Words can trip us up. Certain sounds can trip us up if we don't understand how to deal with them in terms of the airflow and in terms of adapting our voice to them. Finally, you can warm up your mind. If you're very keyed up, anxious, too much adrenaline, is actually warming up in the sense of getting focused. Just do some gentle breathing. I quite like to take a square for this. Breathe in, hold, breathe out on the downward side, hold, and then breathe in. It will slow down your breathing. Make sure your breathing is nice and deep and allow you to actually start to focus on what you need to do to get your task clear, and to allow for that coordination that the brain needs to do with all those little muscles, tendons, joints, whatever, to make this complicated speech activity work. You may not think it's complex, but if you ask anyone who unfortunately has lost their power of speech due to an illness and they have to rebuild it back up again, then they will tell you it's a difficult task. And the brain does an awful lot of very elegant things actually to allow you to speak. So make sure it has oxygen and make sure it has blood flow. Okay, I hope that's been useful today as a taster of the kind of things that can be done. Obviously, if you want to know more, get in touch with me. I'll be back again with one final video where I'll let you know about some great resources that you can use to help you with warming up and with your voice use in general. But that's all for now. Bye and thanks for watching.